Now that we have Pathauto installed, let's go ahead and resume the process of adding tours to our site. Let's go ahead and click Add Content and Tour. And let's go ahead and open up our datasheet again and pull in our information. So this is the Mount McKinley Club September meeting. I'm going to go ahead and paste that in for the name. The location is Anchorage. So we're skipping the description and pasting this in location. This is the mountain climb tour type. So I'm going to paste that in. I'm going to grab the dates and paste it into the dates input. And finally, I'm going to grab the guide and paste it into the guide input. Okay, now let's look at our settings again. We don't need a revision. And then when we click URL path settings, we have a new option here that says automatic alias. And when this is checked, it says that a new alias will be generated for us. So let's go ahead and keep that checked and see what it generates for us. Let's take a look at authoring information. We don't need to edit any information here. We can leave this at the defaults. And with publishing options, we can go ahead and leave this at the defaults too. I'm going to go ahead and click Save. Okay, so this is actually a pretty big step. We've created a new content type and actually added content to the site with that content type. So if you've made it this far, go ahead and give yourself a pat on the back. You're doing great. Okay, now let's take a look at what this did to the path when it generated a path automatically for us. So we see magnificent.com/content/Mount McKinley Club September meeting. So great, it pulled out the periods, the commas, it converted all of the spaces into dashes, and it made everything lowercase. The one thing that's maybe not so great about it is this part here that says content. This seems a little general, so the preference would be to maybe have this say tours instead of content, to have it be more specific so that it's a little easier to tell in the URL what exactly this content is. So now we need to go and modify the Pathauto configuration to use tours right here instead of content. You may have noticed when we were looking at the URL alias settings as we were adding this piece of content that there was a link to the Pathauto settings. Let's go ahead and go to that. I'm going to go ahead and click on Edit on our tour content page, and I'm going to scroll down and click on URL path settings. And right here, there's a link here that says URL alias patterns. Let's go ahead and click this. Okay, so this has a set of patterns. This says content paths here. And if we scroll down, we'll see other boxes for various other pieces of data like users. I'm going to scroll back up. And we have a default path pattern that applies to all content types with blank patterns below. And it looks like all of our content type specific patterns are all blank. So this is applying to everything. So let's go ahead and copy this default and paste it into the tour pattern. Okay, now remember it started with content, so we want to replace content with tours. Now you see here that there's a placeholder for node:title and it's in brackets. You can take a look at what other placeholders are available by clicking this replacement patterns collapsed field set here and expanding various options. So for example, if we want to expand the nodes option, we see that we can use the body, we can use the author, we can use the node ID, which is the unique number associated with a particular piece of content or node. We can use the content type, and so on. So while all we want to do is use the title in this particular URL pattern, you can see that this is extremely powerful, that there's a lot you can add into the URL. For example, you could add the date and a slash to have the date data inside of the URL as well. Let's go ahead and save these options. I'm going to scroll down to the bottom and click Save Configuration.